Miss Gracie Crowley, Olivia McDonald. Enjoy your day.
Good morning. Welcome to Brayton School's Memorial Day celebration. Students of Brayton's 4th grade class will MC our program. Everyone please stand. Please stand quietly. I would like to introduce the house band led by Mr. Chapman. We have Kaylee Scarbo, Carly Gregoire Thomas, Liam Roberts, Lindsay Robar, James Melito, Bradley Chapman, and Olivia Perry. They will perform American Patrol. Music by F.W. Beecham. Hosting our nation's colors and Richard A. Ruther, American Legion Post 152 color guard.
Tail 10 cup, right place.
Cousin arms, then colors.
Comrade, present forward. Order, forward. That's the face.
Everyone please remain standing. I would like to introduce Clara LeBombard, Connor's son, Matthew Dory, and Jacob Arillo. I would like to introduce Evan Swift. Please remain standing.
The 4th, 5th, and 6th grade chorus will lead us in singing our national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner. Everyone please join in the singing of the national anthem. Everyone please take your seats. I would like to introduce Autumn Christmas.
I'll give introductory remarks so we know why we assembled here today. Many people confuse Memorial Day and Veterans Day. On Veterans Day, we thank and honor those who served in the military in times of war or peace. Memorial Day is a day for remembering those who have died serving their country. I'd like to introduce Emily Livingberg, Felicity Messier, and Zion Gunn.
Let us reflect on the history of the national holiday of Memorial Day. Memorial Day is an American holiday observed on the last Monday of May, honoring the men and women who died while serving in the U.S. military. Memorial Day 2019 occurs on Monday, May 27th, originally known as Decoration Day. It originated in the years following the Civil War and became an official holiday in 1971. Early observances of Memorial Day. The Civil War, which ended in the spring of 1865, claimed more lives than any conflict in U.S. history and required the establishment of the country's first national cemeteries. By the late 1860s, Americans in various towns and cities had begun holding springtime tributes to these countless fallen soldiers, decorating their graves with flowers and reciting prayers. It is unclear exactly where this tradition originated. Numerous different communities may have independently initiated the memorial gatherings. Nevertheless, in 1966, the federal government declared Waterloo, New York, the official birthplace of Memorial Day.
Decoration Day. Waterloo was first celebrated on the day on May 5th, 1866, was chosen because it hosted an annual community-wide event. During the businesses closed and residents decorated the graves of soldiers with flowers and flags. On May 5th, 1868, General John A. Logan, leader of an organization for Northern Civil War veterans, called for a nationwide day of remembrance later that month. The 30th of May, 1868 is designated for the purpose of showing flowers or otherwise decorating graves of convicts who died in defense of their country during the Great Rebellion, and whose bodies now line every city, village, and hamlet churchyard in the land, he proclaimed. The day of Decoration Day, as he called it, was chosen because it was not an anniversary of any particular battle.
On the first Decoration Day, President James Garfield made a speech at Arlington National Cemetery, and 5,000 participants decorated the graves of 20,000 Union and Confederate soldiers buried there. Many northern states held similar commemorative events and continued the tradition until 1890, when each one had made Decoration Day an official holiday. The southern states, on the other hand, continued to honor their dead on separate days until after World War I. For decades, Memorial Day was observed on May 30th, the day Logan has selected for the first Decoration Day. But in 1968, Congress passed the Uniform Monday Holiday Act, which established Memorial Day as the last Monday in May. I would like to introduce Caitlin Baker. I will read a letter to set the tone for our program. The Bixby letter is a letter sent from the United States President Abraham Lincoln to a mother of 5 sons who were thought to have died while fighting for the Union in the American Civil War. The brief consoling message was written in November 1864 to Lydia Bixby, a widow living in Boston. The text is widely praised as one of Lincoln's finest written works, along with the Gettysburg Address and his second inaugural address. The Bixby letter. Executive Mansion, Washington, November 21st, 1864. Dear Madam, I have been shown in the files of the War Department a statement of the Adjutant General of Massachusetts that you are the mother of 5 sons who have died gloriously on the field of battle. I feel how weak and fruitless must be any word of mine which should attempt to beguile you from the grief of a loss so overwhelming. But I cannot refrain from tendering you the consolation that may be found in the thanks of the Republic of the United States. I pray that our Heavenly Father may assuage the anguish of your bereavement and leave you only the cherished memory of the loved and lost, and the solemn pride that must be yours to have laid so costly a sacrifice upon the altar of freedom. Yours very sincerely and respectfully, A. Lincoln. I would like to introduce Elaine O'Neill. I would now like to introduce our next musical performance led by Mr. Chapman and our house band. They will be performing America the Beautiful.
Lyrics by Catherine B. Bates. Music by Samuel A. Ward. Thank you, Mr. Chapman and our house band and Miss Kagan in chorus. I would now like to introduce Joseph Fairgruber, Lola Kaler, and Julian Feliciano. I would like you to join me in welcoming our honored guests. Please stand momentarily to be recognized when your name is called. Please hold your applause until all our guests have been announced. Superintendent of the North Adams Public Schools, Dr. Barbara Ann Malkus. Opening event speaker, State Representative John Barrett III. Closing event speaker, State Representative William Smitty Pignatelli. Representing Senator Hines' office is Alfred A.J. Enschel. North Adams Police Chief Jason Wood. Recently retired first class sergeant and automotive instructor at McCann Technical High School, Michael J. McCarran. Principal of Brayton Elementary School, Carrie Wallace. Director of Curriculum, Instruction and Assessment, Dr. Kimberly Roberts Morandi. Director of Special Education, Mr. Thomas Simon. Mr. James Roberts, retired Air Force veteran. North Adams City Councilor, Jason LaForest. North Adams School Committee member, Mr. James Holmes. Veteran Service Director and United States Air Force veteran, Stephen Roy. Veteran Services Administrative Assistant, Tina Sampson. American Legion Auxiliary Post 125, Commander Dennis St. Pierre.
American Mission Auxiliary Post 125, Board Member Tom Lucier. Miss Sarah Bellafado, Northern Berkshire Community Church. American Legion Auxiliary Post 125, President Gail Nelson. Sons of the Legion, Commander Joe Pawlowski. American Legion Auxiliary Post 125, Treasurer Tammy Lucier. American Legion Auxiliary Post 125, Board Member Tori Wilhelm. American Legion Auxiliary Post 125, Executive Board Member and Chairman of the Memorial Day Committee, Mark Sprague. VFW Auxiliary Post 996, President Cindy Candeloro. Conductor Joanna Rist. District 9 President Mary Rist. Junior Vice President Bonnie Whitney. Richard Ruther, American Legion Post 152, Color Guard members. Sergeant Thomas Webb, Air Force Vietnam Era E4, Commander of Legion Post 152. Sergeant Peter Bellowin, Army Vietnam Era E5, Adjutant of Legion Post 152. Staff Sergeant Kevin Howell, Army Vietnam Era E6, Finance and Chaplain of Legion Post 152. Staff Sergeant Joe Bushika, Army Vietnam Era E6, Vice Commander and Sergeant at Arms of Legion Post 152. Sergeant Bill Caprari, Air Force Vietnam Era E4. Specialist Bob Jerry, Army Korea E4. Specialist Ron James, Army Vietnam Era E4. Sergeant Bill Noyce, Air Force Korea E4. Lieutenant Peter White, Army World War II O2. North Adams Police Officers. Lieutenant Anthony Beverly, veteran United States Marine Corps. Detective Brad Vivori, veteran National Guard. Detective Jonathan Boudreaux, veteran United States Marine Corps. Officer Joshua Tracy, veteran National Guard. Officer Kevin Fitzpatrick, veteran United States Marine Corps. Officer Nicholas Felix, veteran United States Marine Corps. Thank you for coming. We are honored to have you here today. Please be seated. I would like to introduce Alana Argueta.
We have one substitute, Roland Roy, World War II veteran.
I would like to introduce our opening remarks speaker for today's program, Representative John Barrett III. Representative Barrett lives here in North Adams. He has been our state representative since November of 2017. He is the state representative of the 1st Berkshire District, serving the towns of Adams, Cheshire, Clarksburg, Florida, Hancock, Lanesboro, New Ashford, Williamstown, and the city of North Adams.
Representative Barrett was the mayor of the city of North Adams for 26 years, from 1984 to 2010. He also served as a school committee member for the Northern Berkshire Vocational Regional School District and served as the North Adams School Committee Chair for the 26 years he was mayor. More importantly, he was a teacher before becoming mayor. He earned both his bachelor's and master's degrees in education at Massachusetts College of Liberal Arts, formerly North Adams State College. We are honored that Representative Barrett could join us today. Please help me welcome Representative Barrett.
My God, when they bury me, don't do that. You'll be there all day. Let me say, it's such a pleasure to be here, especially as a former teacher. And let me tell you, kudos to all the assistants and the teachers and the administration, because I know what you went through in putting this program together. But this is one of the best behaved group of students that I've seen in all my years of education and being around. Congratulations. You know, when Mrs. McCarron called me and asked me if I could make a couple of remarks about Memorial Day and what it meant to me, she also asked my colleague, Smitty Pignatelli from Lennox, who isn't down the other end of the county, what Memorial Day meant to us. And when I think of it, and I see of all the Vietnam veterans that are here, and old Mr. Roy there, you've been going on for a long, long time with his family. Very prominent family in the citizens, as citizens in the city of North Adams, and now up in Pownell. But when I see the commitment that veterans have made over the years, they have always been my heroes in so many ways. During my time, I went through 2 deaths, basically, of people from the city of North Adams. And the first one was Peter Foote in 1968. And he died on the fields of Vietnam in the rice paddies there while he was going to save another soldier who had been hit by enemy fire. Pete was always that way. He was never afraid, even in his time at Drury High School. I lived in Williamstown when we grew up, but we played baseball as opponents and we played it together. And he gave up his time in college to volunteer to go into the service in Vietnam. And in February, I believe, March or February of 1968, at the age of 21 years old, Peter Foote died a long way away from here. When I became mayor, there was one thing that I was going to do, because and the Vietnam veterans that are here today know how difficult time they had when they served our country. It wasn't a fun time for them over there, nor when they came back. And I said we had to find a suitable memorial for him. Now, how many of you have been down to the skating rink down here in North Adams, huh? Well, that's named after Peter Foote. It's called the Peter Foote Veterans Memorial Skating Rink. And I said we had to do something to protect his legacy and also make sure that people never forget the horrors of war and the loss that we face with it. So when we think of Memorial Day, we think of not only those that have served, but also are with us today, but those that aren't with us. Another young man, also 20 years old, from the city of North Adams, was killed in Afghanistan again as a hero, Michael DeMarsico, in 2012. I'll never forget the children of this city and the parents of them and their parents and just average citizens lined Veterans Memorial Bridge all the way in to the funeral home as they came off of the Mohawk Trail for this young man to give him a hero's welcome. 21 years old, and he lost his life. And he lost his life to make sure that all of us and so many others can have the freedom that we now have in this country. And I'll never forget, too, how the community turned out and honored this young man. Today we have an honor for him down at the former State Armory on Ashland Street. And as young people, I hope you go by and you look at that rock and just remember that he made this country safer, he made this community safer, and protected our democracy. So what does Memorial Day mean to me? It means a lot. It's a lot about memories. And as we get older, we think more and more about that. So I hope that none of you have to fight in any more wars. And one last thing that I wanted to do before I left office was to make sure that we built a suitable memorial for our veterans in this community. And I believe we have the best and the most honorable site that you'll find possibly in Berkshire County, and that's at Veterans Memorial Drive. So that we can make sure that everybody from this community and all the citizens who served in our wars could be recognized, so that someday you young ones that are out there can go and say, that was my grandfather, that was my grandmother, that was my father who served this country. And it will be memorialized in this community for many, many years. So when you go by the beautiful monument that's out there in Veterans Memorial Drive, stop and take time, say a prayer, and say thank you to the men and women who served this country. So I hope we never have any more war. I hope that we never have to expand that monument to add more names to it. But unfortunately, we probably will. But I thank you for having me here today. It's been a long time since I've been with so many young people, and I'll tell you, it's a good place to be. So thank you for having me here today, and may God bless America. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Baird. I would like to introduce Connor Mays.
I would like to take this opportunity to share a poem written by Roger J. Robichaux titled The Unknown Soldier. You need not ever know my name. This unknown soldier seeks no fame. I'm here to bring out thought from you. May your heart see more than your view. America, we marched with pride. We gave our life, for you we died. How well we knew the time would come when life could sound the final drum. Please think of us as life moves on. We tried so hard till that last dawn. Do let out our spirit fill the land, past treasured freedom hand to hand. God bless this country with such love, hold your heart abundance of. And when you stand before my grave, think not of one, but each who gave. I would like to introduce Kelsey Church.
I would now like to introduce our next musical performance led by Miss Caton. Grades K through 3 will be singing America, My Country, Tis of Thee, written by Samuel Francis Smith.
Sing
gotten through third grade. That was wonderful. I would now like to introduce Craig Steele.
I would like to introduce our next speaker for today's program, retired Sergeant First Class Michael J. McCarran. Sergeant McCarran, North Adams native, served in the United States Army Reserve for 23 years. He first enlisted in the National Guard at the age of 18, where he served 6 years as an infantryman before he was honorably discharged. In April 2001, Sergeant McCarran re-enlisted in the Army Reserve with the 238th Transportation Company. His job for the unit was heavy-wheeled vehicle truck driver. In 2005, he was transferred to the 220th Transportation Company and deployed to Iraq as convoy commander. In 2010, he returned to Iraq for a third tour with the 304th Transportation Company. In 2015, Sergeant McCarran was deployed a fourth time. He deployed to Afghanistan and served with the 389th Combat Sustainment Support Battalion. During this deployment, he was responsible for troop movements throughout the country of Afghanistan. Upon returning from his deployment, he returned to work at his civilian job as an automotive instructor at McCann Technical Regional High School. He recently retired from the United States Army in August of 2018. We are honored that he has joined us here for this occasion. Please welcome Sergeant First Class McCarran.
Thank you. I don't know how to follow up what's already happened. Thank you, fourth grade class. That's great. Excuse me. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, distinguished guests, I consider it an honor and a privilege to be here with you today. I have recently retired after 23 years of military service. It's hard for me to feel like I'm out of the service. Every day, I'm still a soldier. Do you ever get past that feeling that you're not a soldier? It just doesn't go away, being a soldier. I consider it an honor and privilege to be here and share with you my perspective on Memorial Day. As a 23-year military veteran, Memorial Day leaves me with a very somber feeling. After completing 3 tours of duty in Iraq and 1 in Afghanistan, it's hard not to think of those soldiers that have given the ultimate sacrifice. From the first tour of duty to the last, knowing the risks and the sacrifices all soldiers make is never far from my mind. During my 4 tours of duty, I myself, as well as other soldiers, were involved in situations that may have gotten out of control. Split-second decisions were made and kept soldiers from getting hurt or paying the ultimate sacrifice. Only other soldiers, like myself, can understand the deep anguish we feel when we observe Memorial Day, thinking about those soldiers that didn't return with our unit. All soldiers, from past to present, lived by core values. In the Army, we call them Army core values: loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. Loyalty means to bear true faith and allegiance to the U.S. Constitution, the Army, your unit, and your soldiers. Duty means to fulfill your obligations to being in the Army and to your soldiers. Respect means to treat people as they should be treated. Selfless service means to put the welfare of the nation, the Army, subordinates before your own. Honor needs to live up to all the Army values. Integrity needs to do what's right legally and morally. Personal courage needs to face fear, danger, or adversity, whether physical or moral. All those soldiers that we honor here today that have died in battle, they show the epitome of these values, especially personal courage and selfless service. During this Memorial Day, I think about how you could live these Army values in your everyday life. These values are important to how you treat others. You can follow these core values just like soldiers do. You must be loyal to your family and friends and help them whenever possible. You have a duty to honor the flag and observe the national anthem. You can respect others by treating them fairly and helping others whenever possible. Selfless service can be accomplished by volunteering your time to help feed the hungry and take care of the elderly, including veterans. You can show honor by taking time to observe Memorial Day and help others do the same. Integrity can be accomplished on a daily basis by doing what you know is right, even when others are not doing the right thing. There may be times when you have to show personal courage by defending against bullying, even when it means not being popular. During Memorial Day, I take the time to think about those soldiers from past wars and conflicts. My grandfather, Thomas McCarran, served in World War I. My father, Gene McCarran, served during the Korean War. Every soldier who leaves for war plans on returning home to loved ones and their families. Every soldier that gets deployed overseas counts the days to returning home. On Memorial Day, we honor those soldiers who did not return home. So during this Memorial Day weekend, we should all take time to walk around the cemetery, observe all the American flags. Take time to read the inscription on the headstones and thank that soldier for their service. During this observance of Memorial Day, there is reason for celebration also. Celebration of life with family and friends. The opportunity to celebrate was given to us by all those soldiers who paid the price for our freedom. So don't forget to take time to observe what this holiday is all about. On Monday, Memorial Day at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, there will be a nationwide moment of silence. So wherever you are at that time, please stop and reflect. Think about those that paid that price for our freedom. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, Sergeant McCarran. I would like to introduce Hope Pierce and Marilyn Sigsbury.
We would like to share a poem with you. This poem is titled In Your Honor. The author is unknown. Unselfishly, you left your fathers and your mothers. You left behind your sisters and your brothers, leaving your beloved children and wife. You put on hold your dreams, your lives. On foreign soil, you found yourself planted to fight for those who freedom you granted. Without your sacrifice, their cause would be lost, but you carried onward no matter the cost. Many horrors you had endured and seen, many faces that had haunted your dreams. You cheered as your enemies cried, littered to the ground. You cried as your brothers fell all around.
When it was all over, you all came back home. Some were left with memories to face all alone.
Some found themselves in company of friends as their crosses cast shadows across the land. Those who survived were forever scarred, emotionally, physically, permanently marred. Those who did not now eternally sleep beneath the ground they had given their lives to keep free. With a hand upon my heart, I feel the pride and respect. My reverence is revealed in the tears that now stream down my upturned face as our flag waves above you in her glory and grace. Freedom was the gift that you once so officially gave. Pain and death was the price that you ultimately paid. Every day I give my utmost admiration to those who had fought to defend our nation. I would like to introduce Natalie Aleskowitz.
It is proper to have a moment of respect for those who gave their lives for their country. Please stand and join in observing a moment of silence. Please stand. Please be quiet. Thank you, Kayla Scarbo, for the performance of Taps. Everyone, please sit. I would like to introduce Cheyenne Cruz and Blue Sticks. I would like to introduce our closing remarks speaker for today's program, State Representative William Smitty Pignatelli. William Smitty Pignatelli is a Democratic member of the Massachusetts House of Representatives, representing the 4th Berkshire District. Smitty, as he prefers to be called, was named after his father's best friend, William Smith, who was killed during World War II. Born and raised in Lenox, Massachusetts, Smitty graduated from the Lenox Public School System in 1977. In 1998, he was offered a position as a business development manager for Lee Bank. While at the bank, he was attending Babson College School for Financial Studies, graduating in 2001.
Smitty was first elected to the Lenox Planning Board in 1987 and served on that board for 5 years. In 1992, he was elected to the Board of Selectmen and was elected chairman on 4 different occasions. Serving until May of 2003, Smitty also served from 1995 to 1999 as a Berkshire County Commissioner, including 2 years as chairman of the board. Longing to serve the people of his beloved Berkshire District, he decided to leave the bank to pursue his dream of public service and run for higher office. Smitty won the seat of state representative for the 4th Berkshire District and is currently serving his 9th term in the House of Representatives. With over 40 years of public service experience, Smitty has also been involved in many local associations. In 2017, Smitty was appointed to serve as House Chairman for the Joint Committee on the Environment, Natural Resources, and Agriculture. We are honored to have State Representative Pignatelli here for this special occasion. Please welcome State Representative Pignatelli.
Thank you very much, and good morning. My good friend, Representative John Barrett's last words to me coming up here was, boy, you're the last one to try to keep these young minds riveted to this conversation, but I'm really quite honored to be here, and I'll just pick up on what my good friend Representative Barrett talked about, and certainly Sergeant McCarron. And first of all, I'd like to thank all of the veterans for being here today and for your service and sacrifice. I'd like to thank all the young kids for being so attentive. I was your age once, many, many moons ago, but you really held your ground here today very admirably. The chorus, these young people up here were pretty special. The house band is unbelievable. Kayla on the end there. I got to single Kayla out. I'm going to come up and say hello to you after this to introduce myself. I played the trumpet for 12 years when I was much younger. And even at the end of 12 years, I've never played like you do today. So congratulations on a job well done. Representative Barrett and I have been friends and family friends for over 40 years. And I loved how we talked about friendships. How many of you young kids have a best friend? My dad had a best friend. They did everything together, much like you guys. They went to school together, they played ball together, they went to the movies together, they just hung out together. They did everything. They would stay overnight at each other's house. At one point, my dad's best friend's mother called and says, "Is Smitty coming home?" Because they stayed overnight at my dad's house for 2 or 3 nights in a row. Smitty is where I got my name from, and it's something that I carry proudly each and every day of my life. Because my dad lost his best friend at the age of 19. My father, forever, until the day he died, had a pain in his heart over the loss of his best friend because of the war. I love being with the veterans because they all have their own story of pain and sacrifice. Although I was named after my dad's best friend, my father would never talk about Smitty. It was too hard. He told me one time that while the pain was not fresh, it was still there. It was hard for him to talk about it. I spent years trying to find the cemetery where Smitty was buried. Because my father was off in the Army Air Corps. Smitty was killed at the age of 19 in the Navy Air Corps when his plane went down in the Pacific. I finally found the cemetery in Milton, Massachusetts, which is just south of Boston. My sister and I grabbed my dad one Saturday morning, and we got onto the turnpike. We finally told him we were going. We're going to take a ride to Milton, Massachusetts. He wasn't sure he wanted to go. It had been 62 years. And Smitty, my father never had a proper way to say goodbye to Smitty. So we drove to Milton, Massachusetts through a snowstorm to get there because that was the day that we knew we could get my father there as a then 82-year-old man. When we got there, if you can all just visualize, my then 82-year-old father walking through the fresh fallen snow just to touch the headstone of his best friend. It brought some closure to my father. All the way home, my dad never stopped talking about Smitty. I heard stories that I had never heard before in my life. My dad passed away a couple of months ago, and we're starting to clean out the house. And in his master bedroom, on his dresser, my entire life have been 2 photographs. One of my mother, when they were getting married, and one of Smitty. Those are the only 2 pictures on my father's dresser for my entire life. The pain and the sorrow that our veterans have experienced is immeasurable. It's hard to describe. But the stories that all of you guys feel need to be shared. Let's not wait 62 years like my father did to share those stories. My dad passed away a couple months ago at the age of 95. For all of you young people that are here today, I encourage you to do something I do, which you may think is kind of crazy. I love walking through the cemeteries on Memorial Day weekend. I love seeing all the flags. To pick up on Sergeant McCarron's comment, read the inscriptions. Look at the names. Look at the ages. You will see Smitty's name at age 19 with a beautiful flag. You will see John Piccatelli, my father's name, at age 95 with a beautiful flag. In our line of work as elected officials and public officials, we go to a lot of wakes, we go to a lot of funerals. We try to comfort our friends and our neighbors and supporters when they lose a loved one. Sorry for your loss, is what we would always say. Until I lost both of my parents this past winter, I didn't understand what that really meant until they passed away. So when I look at our veterans today, I say thank you. Thank you for your service, and I'm sorry for your loss. For the young people that are here today, look at the faces of all the veterans in this room here today. Go visit a cemetery. When you go home today, talk to your moms and dads. Talk to your grandparents. Learn a little bit more about your own family history and their service to America. You may hear some incredible stories. Some stories where some soldiers stayed stateside, on the ready, to go to some foreign land thousands of miles away from North Adams or anywhere in the Berkshires to protect our freedoms. Ask them to share their story. So many World War II veterans are passing away. I'm so honored to have a World War II veteran here today. So many are passing every single day because they're well into their 90s. Don't let them pass without them sharing their stories. I think it's incredible that there's so many Vietnam-era veterans who, when they returned to American soil, there were no ticker tape parades, no welcome home parties. They were treated horribly because of what we viewed that war was all about. So welcome home, Vietnam veterans. This is your day. We say congratulations. My father's favorite holidays were Christmas, Thanksgiving, and of course his birthday. But he loved Memorial Day. That was the day to celebrate all of our veterans and all of the ones who paid the supreme sacrifice. So when you guys on Monday or Sunday this weekend go to a parade or participate in a parade, just don't view it as the unofficial start to summer. The reason to have a barbecue. The reason to have a day off of school. When you see the veterans walking in that parade or riding in a car, wave the flag. Say thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your sacrifice. This event today is really very special. I applaud everybody for doing this. And like my good friend Representative Barrett says, wouldn't it be great if we had no more wars, if we had no more names to add to monuments? The veterans will pass, like we all will in life, but days like today should always continue because of that sacrifice made so that we can be here today. So I thank you all very, very much for allowing me to be here today. This school is incredible. I appreciate the leadership and I admire the teachers for keeping these young people attention. Let today be the start of a year-long celebration. And let Monday be a very special day to honor all of our veterans. So thank you so much. God bless this school. God bless America. God bless all of our veterans. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Representative Pignatelli. I would like to introduce Chad Sledge.
I would like to introduce Dr. Barbara Melkis to give her reflections. Barbara Melkis has served as an educator for over 32 years in the roles of a science teacher, school administrator, district administrator, deputy superintendent, and superintendent. In each of her district and roles, she has strived to improve the quality of education for all students, particularly those representing underserved populations. Her own experiences in education contribute to her belief that education is the key to lifelong satisfaction and meaning. She is forever grateful to those early teachers in her own life who encouraged and assured her that it was okay to be the smart girl, even in the 1960s and 70s. Barbara Melkis holds a Bachelor of Sciences in Chemistry from St. Joseph's College of Brooklyn, New York, a Master of Science degree in Science Education from St. John's University, and a doctorate in Educational Leadership from the State Colleges of Albany. In addition of her professional responsibilities, Dr. Melkis is the board president of the Massachusetts Breast Cancer Coalition. This nonprofit organization is dedicated to preventing environmental causes of breast cancer through education, research, advocacy, and changes to public policy. Dr. Melkis resides in Clarksburg, MA, Mass, with her husband, also an educator, with their dog and 2 cats. She is the proud parent of 2 gainfully employed young adults. Her daughter, Kristen, is a lieutenant and amateur aviator of the United States Coast Guard, and her son, Eric, is a video game developer for Bungie. Please welcome Dr. Melkis to the stage.
Thank you. After all of that, I'm here to wake you up and just say a few brief remarks, mainly because everything's already been said. I was thinking about coming here today and thinking about our veterans and what Memorial Day means. And I kept coming back to, I can't look at you guys when I do this. I keep coming back to the word courage. And we know that courage is not the absence of fear. It's moving and taking action even in the presence of fear. And that is what all of the members of our 5 military branches do every day. There are young men and women all over the world who are doing work to protect our freedom here in the United States. And every day, I'm looking down at you guys now, so pay attention. I'm looking at you because every day when you stand up and you take that Pledge of Allegiance, you are taking an oath as a citizen here in the United States to say that this symbol means something. It represents our freedom. And you are taking that oath to say, I will respect that freedom and I will uphold that freedom. Now, when you enter into military service, or when you enter into special office, like our delegation members who are here today, or when you went to service as a police officer, or a fireman, or as a city councilor, or as a school committee member, you are sworn in. And in that swearing-in ceremony, you take an oath to have courage and protect the freedoms that we all get to enjoy. So, if you walk away from today with one thought, I want to reiterate what Sergeant First Class McCarran said earlier. Courage and selfless report to duty. I think I'm pretty close. Do what is expected of you selflessly and with courage, because the opposite of courage is not fear. The opposite of courage is selfishness. So if you want to be brave, if you want to live up to the courage that these men and women here have protected for us, then we need to not be selfish. We need to act on behalf of each other, even in the face of fear. So, what other actions can you do? I have to refer to my notes because I don't want to give you more information here. So, tomorrow, the Hillside Restoration Group will be placing flags on veterans' graves in the Southview Cemetery beginning at 8:45 a.m. Anyone who would like to help in this effort should come to the cemetery and look for the people in red shirts. And so, when you go home today, just like Representative Pignatelli told you to go and talk to your parents, let them know that tomorrow you could go to the Southview Cemetery and participate in helping to place those American flags that he was telling you about that you should go look for. On Monday, the parade will start promptly at 9:30 at the American Legion, and it marches to the Veterans Memorial that Representative Barrett referred to and talked about. The ceremony will take place and in the event of rain, that ceremony will be moved to the American Legion. And I'm hoping that we're going to see some of you students there, because this is a beautiful, wonderful school celebration, but you need to be part of the community celebration as well. So thank you all for the organization, your beautiful reading, the great music, the beautiful singing, that incredible trumpet player. Thank you, and our band. And on behalf of Mayor Thomas Bernard, who couldn't be here today, he wanted me to extend the many thanks to our veterans and the veterans' family members who are here, because we often think about the person who is in service, but the entire family enters into service, because the people who wait at home have a very hard time, because we are always waiting to hear good news and get a phone call with our loved one on the other end of the line, and not the phone call or the information that would be why we celebrate Memorial Day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Malthus. I would like to introduce Jamari Leclerc. Please stand quietly. Quiet, please. The house band led by Mr. Chapman will perform Amazing Grace, a hymn written by the English poet, Anglican, Anglican clergyman, John Newton. Please remain standing. Richard Ruther, American Legion Post 152, Calabar will retire the colors.
Sergeant Arms, let's go.
Comrades, please go over the head troops and retire colors. Present time. Order, halt. Stand forward and punch.
Everybody please take your seats. I would like to introduce Kelly Roberts.
As we end the ceremony, we would like to thank Representative John Barrett, Representative William Pignatelli, Sergeant First Class Michael McCarran, Superintendent Melgus, Richard A. Ruth, American Legion, Post 152, Color Guard, Mr. Chapman of the House Band, Miss Caton, Miss Carrie Wallace, Miss Ruscio, Mr. Darling, Robert and Sarah Bellovato, all of our guests and everyone assembled here today at our Memorial Day celebration. I'd like to invite Ms. McCarran to the stage.
Thank you. I'm going to do a better job speaking than I am. I wrote something very short. I would like to thank everyone for joining us here today. I would especially like to thank fourth grade students. For doing a very good job. I have to say they did an excellent job conveying what exactly Memorial Day represents. So again, thank you so much for working with me the past few weeks, practicing endlessly. They worked very, very hard. And next I would like to extend a personal thank you to Mr. Darling. Thank you so much. I probably got on your nerves. Thank you very much. Took a lot of time planning and setting this up. Mrs. Ruscio for working with us every day, practicing and rehearsing. Mr. Chapman, Ms. Caton, thank you so much for working with me on the music. House band, thank you. I also want to say, putting together this program is a collaborative effort. I'd like to thank my colleagues and the administration for supporting me in this, because none of this would be possible. And I want to thank the parents. Thank you for joining us today. So I'm glad everyone came. Thank you very much.